Well, Chaz Bono's turn on Dancing with the Stars is seen by many transgenders as a positive, pivotal moment in public perceptions. Changing from one sex to the other is often an agonizing decision that follows years of major inner turmoil. CNN's Julie Peterson has one woman's story.
I love you, man. I'll say I will be home tomorrow night.
Tracy Wilson, parent of 4, divorced and a college graduate. Wilson has seen a lot.
I am a military veteran, United States Air Force, served 6 years, Gulf War veteran, and I moved from the military into law enforcement.
And that was all before Wilson became a woman a few years ago.
I've had what is referred to as FFS, facial feminization surgery, augmentation of cheeks, a little work on my chin or my nose, forehead reduction, bossing, where they remove the brow line, make it smaller. A year and a half later, I underwent a gender confirmation surgery, actual surgery on my genitalia to fashion from male to female.
Wilson traveled from South Carolina to Atlanta recently for 2 transgender conferences. Here, she can connect with others who, like her, say they've always known they were born with body parts that didn't match who they are in head and heart.
What emotional pain do you have to be at? What point do you have to be at to where you're willing to do this? You've got children, you've got a wife.
For me, pain, I'm a person that I can withstand a lot. For me, it was more of a feeling of gravity pulling me towards this change.
It's a hard decision and an equally hard path.
I've been turned away because of being transgendered. I ended up losing my marriage.
Did you want to keep your marriage?
Yes, I did. I very much wanted to keep my marriage, and to this day, I still love her deeply.
Nevertheless, Wilson says she'd do it all again. Besides camaraderie, transgenders come here to meet with medical doctors and psychologists like Mickey Diamond. Diamond studied transgenders since the 1960s.
Transsexuals, we're not sure yet of what the numbers are, but probably about 1 in 1,000. Doesn't surprise me if it turns out that way.
In this community, he's a rock star. Diamond says his research of identical twins makes him certain this condition has genetic roots.
We believe there's much more biological, there's much more built into you that leads to who you are.
He says transgenders do not suffer from a mental disorder, as claimed by some.
Nature loves variety. Society hates it. That's a hubris that we don't need.
With celebrity and transgender Chaz Bono in the spotlight, with his role in Dancing with the Stars, the hope here is that transgenders will be better understood.
We're everyday people, and all we want to do is go to work, live our lives. We want to pay our taxes, have good paying jobs.
Julie Peterson, CNN Atlanta.
And joining me now to further conversation on transgender, Erin Swenson. I almost said Eric.
Old name.
I know, slip of the tongue, right?
That's been a long time ago.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
15 years ago, you had the surgery. Is that right?
I actually transitioned like 16 or 17 years ago and finally had a sex reassignment surgery, which for me was really not a very big part of it. The actual changes were, the really dramatic changes happened way before the surgery occurred. The surgery was kind of like between me and my doctor. And
was this an easy or difficult decision to make? Probably in some ways it was a no-brainer. You knew what you wanted to do, but no.
It took a long time for me to get to the place where I was ready to
actually do it.
I was so acutely aware of that it was going to drag all these people in my life that I loved and cared deeply about. I was a therapist in Atlanta, was well known. I'd helped pass our licensing bill here in the legislature for marriage and family therapists. And
married, 2 kids.
Married, 2 kids. Presbyterian minister. I had all that stuff, and you know, the idea of transitioning just didn't occur to me as something that I would need to do.
How did you finally make the decision, and how did you tell the family?
Well, my wife had some inkling, thank goodness. I mean, she knew me pretty well. I think she sometimes knows me better than I do. And our 2 kids were the hardest. They didn't have any inkling, so it hit both of them pretty hard. My older daughter was getting ready to get married and had images of her daddy walking her down the aisle, and I
Did
kind
that
of
happen?
destroyed that. Her granddad did, and so I got to help her get ready in the bridal place with all the women. It was wonderful.
And you're close with the family.
Yes.
Everybody's in a good place with this now.
Yes, in fact, my whole family, without exception, has not only come to accept it, but has come to really appreciate that my gender transition was a positive thing. My sister, I was making a joke one time with my sister thinking, well, maybe I'll just go back, because, you know, it really isn't easy being a woman in this world.
Hey,
And
I can attest to that.
and she looked at me and she said, over my dead body, I didn't like that person. Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe I better not. Okay.
Now, you've chosen to be single. Why not have a relationship, be in love?
Kiera, I don't really feel single. I know I am single in, I guess, the legal sense, and we have divorced. But I'm still very close with my family. We have two gorgeous daughters. One is a mother. She lives up in Tennessee, so I have a granddaughter. And then our younger daughter has severe and multiple disabilities, which have had a profound impact on her life. And she is probably my biggest hero. So.
And you know, these conferences that took place, we were talking about the discrimination factor, the stereotyping that takes place. How do you explain to people, because you know how people judge? Oh, they're gay, they're lesbian, they're sexually perverse.
Yes.
You've heard it all. You've had to battle all of that. What do you say to that? How do you deal with that on a regular basis?
Well, it's great when you can get into a conversation with someone about it. The problem is that people are out there holding on to their preconceptions and their misconceptions and not doing anything with it. They don't pay any attention. They're not interested. They want to hold on to their misconceptions. What's wonderful are having things like this, where we can talk and really begin to open it up, because I'm not gay. I don't. Of course, some people could say because I was married for 27 years to a woman who's a very attractive woman, still is in her mid-60s.
You love her very much.
I love her deeply. And, you know, you could say that was lesbian, perhaps. But none of that really makes much sense to me. My gender identity is really separate from my sexual attraction to people. For some people, you know, I think it does feel a little closer to the gender thing. I mean, I know some gay men who love to do drag, and, you know, it's a part of their connection with femininity and the feminine side of life, which I think is wonderful. But I think most of the transgender people I know, we're all over the spectrum in terms of sexuality. Some are straight, some are gay, some folks are asexual. They just sort of, you know, say, I don't care about that at all. Many are bisexual and find themselves being able to enjoy loving relationships with people regardless of their gender.
I know. As a pastor, you love people on a daily basis. And I saw your reaction to Chaz Bono, too. You said, oh, what a voice. Well, you're a voice as well.
You know, what an amazing voice his is. He is just a, you know, he's well-known. I love the fact that he is female to male, FTM, because for so many years, people thought if you were transgender, you were always a trans woman like I am. And Chaz has really helped us to understand the great depth of the transgender community, because we have so many people who have such great talent, who have the opportunity to contribute to our world and our culture. They lose their jobs because of being transgender, and they're very often some of the most talented people in the workplace. And it's just a terrible loss, not only for the workplace, but for those transgender people themselves. And as I hope you understand, not just them, but their families. You know, when someone loses their job in this culture, we know that families are under great stress because of the economy.
It's pretty brutal. Well, you talk about Chaz being such a good voice. So are you. And thank you for sharing your